let's look into our life in a way that we can live it in such a way that we don't fear the end, but we basically look forward to it. Now, we know that when we're born, we have a beginning, we have a life, and then the life comes to an end. And that's a sad thing for most people when you hear about someone dying. This person died in a car crash, this person was murdered, this person died of a disease. We think about people who live their life, have plans, have goals, and all of a sudden death is imminent. Like if someone has cancer and you say, oh wow, the person is dying of cancer, so they have to, rush to the good thing because the end is coming so quickly. But let's look at our life in a little bit of a different way. Let's look at our life as a daily death and a future birth. Now, what does that mean? It means that every day you live your life, you will see an end to what you're doing in the present minute, in the present time. It's like when you have a meal. You know that when you sit down to eat a meal, you will finish that meal. You know that when you arise in the morning, you know that you will have to get out of bed. You know you have to work. You know you have to go home. You know you have to watch TV. You have to do things that are finite. And then you start over again. So knowing that our life is the same way, why don't we look at our life in the sense of time variances that we can enjoy, knowing that they're going to end, but they benefit the next phase of our life? Okay. It's like death does not necessarily imply that a person is at the end. It simply implies that they had a life. And whether you believe in the afterlife or resurrection or reincarnation, whatever you want to say, we know that life continues even after we die. In some essence, we know that when we take let's say a chicken and we kill it and we ingest it, it becomes part of us. We know that when we pour water onto the street, it goes back into the clouds and falls down again as rain. We know that life continues on, but we don't understand that the future is always based on what we did today. So I'm going to give you a formula, a mindset, if you will, that will help you to look at your life as a daily birth and a daily death and a resurrection, so you can continue on with your life with what I call future power. Now, you know that if you get up in the morning and you have your day planned, your day will probably flow a lot better than someone with no plans. So the first thing you want to do is every night before you go to bed, sit down and write out your plans. Write out your plans about what you're going to do and plan them accordingly. So you're going to plan to get up in the morning. Now, when you get up in the morning, it's a present state. You're in bed, and maybe you have an alarm clock, or however way you wake yourself up, and you look at your life and you say, okay, my plan is now to get out of bed. What you want to do is, first of all, think about what you're going to do. So you get up and you say to yourself, I'm going to do some stretching, some quick moves, some cardiovascular moves, or should I say, you want to do some calisthenics. Then what you want to do, you want to go and have something to eat. It's important to have breakfast, so plan your breakfast. Go and have a good sized breakfast, some eggs, bacon, toast, whatever you have. Enjoy that meal. Enjoy that first meal. And as you have that meal, enjoy what you're eating. So strive to start the morning off enjoying your time. Now, I look upon television and anything else as a distraction. It's like, could you imagine if you were with a woman or a man or whatever sex you are, you were someone who you were really into sexually, and you wanted to make love to that person. Now, how do you increase the sensuality of the situation? Do you turn the TV on or do you turn it off? Do you turn the lights up high or do you turn them down low or off? Do you make sure that the environment is conducive to enjoying the experience, or do you make as much noise as you can so you don't focus on what you're doing? You know what the answer is. So I'm saying that your first meal, your first meals you have in the morning should be a time when you spend with yourself enjoying the meal, enjoying every bite, enjoying the flavor, enjoying the sensation of feeding yourself nutritional food, which will give you fuel for your day. Then you go about your business. Then you go upstairs and maybe you take your shower, get your clothes ready. And again, you know, choose something that is going to make that better for you. Put on some good music in the background as you iron your clothes, as you're brushing your teeth, flossing. Think good thoughts. Enjoy what you're doing and focus on what you're doing. Do you know that it is so important for you to brush your teeth properly so that your body is healthy? So don't just put that aside. Do that. And then as you go and do your exercise, again, exercise properly. Exercise with the intent of enjoying what you're doing. It's not just about getting through it. So go about your day. Now, if you enjoy your day, if you enjoy your ride to the job, if you enjoy the job that you do, the experience is going to be what I call in the present, in real time. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the next day or the next phase. You're enjoying the present state that you're in. Knowing that every phase that you're in, on your job, your relationships with your friends, the conversation you have, things that you do, will give you the permission to lie down and sleep. And you know that that day is over. So consider your sleep as a death of that day, because that day is gone. Once you have crest from one day to the next, the past is dead and you can no longer see it. You can no longer visit. It doesn't matter. It's not something you can revisit. But because you lived your best life that day, you have the right to lay down and die, if you will, to that day and be born again the next day with the purpose of doing it again and again and again. But you only try. This is the hard part. This is the part that is so crucial. Only strive to live one day at a time, one meal at a time, one episode at a time to the fullest. So what does that mean? It means that you might look at television as something that you don't want to, give all your time to. You don't give all your time to, being on the internet and looking for junk, or just being on Facebook and looking at things that don't mean anything to you. You want to look at your time as a one-time thing. Your day is a one-day event, and you die at the end of that day. So how do you want to live? Now, let's say, for example, I like to use language as an example of growth. If you want to study a language and you were looking at being the best that you could be in that day as you study your languages, or you study your schoolwork, or you study anything, or you are with someone, be the best that you can be during that time and don't worry about tomorrow. It's like the example I would like to give is when a person is doing push-ups. You can have a goal to do 100 push-ups, or you can have a goal to do a very good push-up and then do one more. And your one more becomes more than your goal because you're enjoying the process. So when you sit down with yourself and you say, I'm going to do anything, I'm going to talk to someone, I'm going to study something, I'm going to enjoy this time, you make that time the best it can be for you during that time, and then you do something else. Always striving to enjoy what you're doing, knowing that it has a purpose to getting you to that death of that day, knowing you were a success. And then guess what happens? Next time when you have your resurrection, which is your awakening, you know that you can do it again. You know that you've been given an edge. You've been given a gift because the person who you were is also gone. It's like a rebirth. It's like if someone were to give you a skill just by dying. They were to pass on their abilities because they no longer exist and they came to you. That's exactly what happens when you allow yourself to have a full day of being who you are and die every night. When you arise the next day, you are given more power. You have more structure. You have more concentration. You have more focus. You have more ability because you knew that the person who you were to become, which is the person in the future, who does not exist on this plane today, needs you to do your best. Now, try to do that every day. And I guarantee you, you will see success. You will see yourself being able to overcome a lot of things because you were given the time to focus on what it was in that day, knowing that when the event came, let's say, for example, you were taking a test. If I understand that I am not going to be the same person in 2 weeks, so I can kind of take it easy. I don't got to stress out because I know that who I am today will not be the same person who takes that test in 2 weeks. This person is going to die on that day. But I will give the power and the knowledge to the person who is going to be coming in 2 weeks. But I have to pass it on to the next person who will be there tomorrow. And that person, again, will understand that they will not live to take that test as they are. They will do their best without the stress of having to take that test or do that thing because they are giving their power to their next incarnation. Okay. And I know it's it's a crazy thought, it's kind of different, but that's how I live my life. I know that if I start something, the person who starts the thing is not the person who ends it. The person who goes into the room is not the person who walks out of the room. We change all the time because our mindsets, our being changes daily. It changes every second. We only get to see it when we look at the increments of our years and we say, okay, yeah, I was 25 and I'm 50 and I'm 75. There's a staunch change. But if you look at your life and say, look, I am going to do my best and enjoy this time, this meal, this study, this conversation, this lovemaking, this whatever you're doing, then I know that once I die, whoever comes after me will enjoy the benefit of my concentrated effort to make what I was doing count. Not only for myself, but for my future self, for the person who is not yet born, who will benefit so much from the fact that I put that effort into making what they have to do happen to its highest extent. So if you're someone and you're trying to, let's say you're trying to learn to speak Chinese, which is a hard language, and you were to say, okay, the first thing I'm going to learn is to say one in Chinese, which is E. And you go, there's a certain way you say it. You go, E. You don't say E, you say E. It's a certain tone. And then E, R. And you go from there. E, R, san, su. There's a tone, su. E, R, san, su. U, liu, qi, ba, jiu, shi. And you go, okay, I've said those tones and they sound silly. But if you have confidence and you do it properly, after 10, 20, 30 days, you're E, R, san, su, u, liu, qi, ba, jiu, shi. It comes out of you. And you know because the person who is no longer here, that scared person, that person who was full of doubt, but they had the confidence to at least try to do it right that day, gave you the power to move on. And so now you're speaking Chinese or you're speaking French or you're trying to do, or you're in shape because that person who no longer exists, who was here a month ago, decided they were going to eat properly every meal. So now you got the body that you want because that person who no longer exists did the right thing during his time. So now you look the way you want to look, and you carry it forward. That's what you do. You carry it forward and give yourself future power, because we know it's a fact. The person who started this video is not the same person who ended it. We change over time. But if you do it right, it will make a big difference in the life of the person who is yet to come. And that person is you. Thank you. Have a great day.